All right, off we go and getting things done for Friday. Again, a quiet day, not much of anything really going on, and very thankful for that after some of the severe weather we've had over the last couple of weeks. It's a beautiful evening, if you don't mind the heat and some of the humidity. Going to continue again to see the potential for some areas of maybe some showers and thunderstorms coming up as we get into around next week, but that is an awesomely small chance. I will let you know that immediately because even if we do get any chance of rainfall coming on through, it's just not looking like all that much. And that means it's time for the old persistence forecasting ways of doing things. If you've never heard about that, again, if you have little, if any, change over the next several days, that means that you really don't wind up with anything that's going to be changing on the temperatures all that much, which means that as of right now, toward next week, I think we are going to be seeing the potential for some rather hot conditions and staying that way. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This is Weather Overtime. It is Friday night, Flag Day. It is also, again, the end of a very warm week. So if you have any plans for getting outdoors for into the weekend, it is going to be, again, exceptionally warm. Not quite as hot as you might think, though. That's something we'll talk about here coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We'll talk about our weather quiz of the day. We'll show you our weather picture of the day. We'll take a look at the Father's Day forecast. We'll take a look at the tropics, that also having some situations to monitor. And we'll talk more about what the situation is, again, with our very warm weather across much of the area. So stay tuned for more on that. High temperature for today, taking a look at the almanac, 95, came within 2 of a record high temperature. So whether or not we get to that state in the next couple of days, we will see some very hot numbers. We're going to give a couple of records a run for their money, but I think we're also going to see not much of anything going on. 20 degrees above a record low. Wouldn't that feel nice? But that's not happening anytime soon. Into overnight, temperatures will not be all that cool. The best we're going to be able to do is back in the lower 70s by about dawn patrol, and that's about as good as it gets. We're not seeing much of anything else in the way of help out there. Temperatures back in the mid to upper 80s downtown, awaiting the beginning of fireworks Friday from the Chattanooga Lookouts at AT&T Field. Not too sure if we're close to that. Might have missed it already. Looks like we're going into the 9th inning. Looks like that's taken a while, and they're not doing too good at this point. Oh, yeah, that is definitely not good. We'll have a sports update for you coming up here a little bit later tonight as the hometown Lookouts take on the Montgomery Biscuits. Hot again for the show into tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Lee Point, beautiful sunset, no problems at all being seen. What's left of that sunset out there, and again, so far some very quiet conditions overall. Some beautiful sunsets over the last couple of days and weeks. News 12 Studios looking off over Lookout Mountain, the north flank there. Very quiet, very dry. Some pretty good traffic backups at 2475 earlier on today. Not seeing that for right now, so definitely some good news for anybody traveling. But remember, back to the left-hand side of this picture, there is going to be some pretty good amounts of travel going on through that construction zone this weekend, so you may want to think about an alternate route just to be on the safe side there. Here's what it looks like from Speedy's Total Car Care from downtown. Not that much going on at this point. The Coolidge Park area, the footbridge, a lot of folks still out and about. Very mild evening across much of the area. And the Chattanooga Zoo, their ice cream safari is going to be coming up tomorrow. The view looking back toward the northwest, Erlanger Hospital and the northwestern skies out there. Hope the ice cream safari tomorrow goes well. That's going to be an excellent way to spend a hot summer day, is with a bunch of ice cream. So looking forward to that. And once again, if you're just tuning in, temperatures are still back in the mid to upper 80s. So not seeing much of anything in the way of help for right now. Temperatures across the rest of the area, again, back into the mid to upper 80s. Not seeing a good deal of anything taking place in the way of cooler weather, and again, probably will not see much of anything about that anytime soon. 86 registering at the Chattanooga site, everybody else in the 70s and 80s. And heat index, we're not really going to show that to you because we don't have much going on in the way of direct sunlight happening. So for right now, temperatures are, again, mild. I wouldn't call them stifling, but I would call them pretty much on the money for the time being. We've got winds generally out of the west-northwest. We don't have much going on. We've got high pressure in control behind and in front of this front. So this front coming through is very much on the weak side. So there's really not that much this front's going to be doing. It's right north of us at this time, so it's going to be passing on through, and our next storm systems will be bumped up to the north, so we don't see much of anything happening here where it comes to anything in the way of rainfall anytime soon. Now, tomorrow, the front comes through. That'll be dry air. Lows Saturday morning, not that low, high 60s to mid to high 70s, and then back in the 90s, could even be some triple digits south of us toward Atlanta. Sunday morning, high 60s to mid 70s. The computer, again, throws in a couple of showers. I'm really not in agreement with that at this time. Less going on into Monday morning, and then better chances of showers and thunderstorms, a little bit more moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico here, and then that sticks around into Tuesday of a limited nature, but honestly, there's just not that much going on, and temperatures will remain very much on the warm side. Matter of fact, as we go into the next several days, according to the Climate Prediction Center, much of the heaviest amount of heat is going well up to our north, and then also for us, we will be much above normal, but not quite as bad as what we're seeing up that direction. Now, we do see, again, this pattern continuing through the course of the rest of this next week, and that is where we kind of run into some problems. These are the record high temperatures standing that have been set already. And some of these haven't been broken for 60, 70, 80 years. And some of those topping the triple digits. So for right now, we're going to have to go over the mid to upper 90s. We're going to have to hit at least 98 a couple of days to tie a record. To break a record, we're going to have to go well over some of this, and that is where we see the potential for those really hot weather conditions out there. When I show you the 7-day in a minute, remember this graphic because we'll take a look at what the situation is regarding the anything involving the situation taking place with the heat. I don't see it as being a heat emergency or anything else, and for that matter, the National Weather Service has not posted anything in the way of heat advisories for the area at this time. That happens when you start seeing heat indexes going over 105 degrees, and I just don't see that going on at this point for right now. That could change, yeah, absolutely. We'll keep our eyes on that. So for right now, let me change this over real quick. Watching for the fireworks to start downtown. They should be doing that relatively soon. Hope we'll get some recordings of that. Island Cove Marina and Resort, Lake Chickamauga. Got some folks, a lot of folks out on the water earlier this afternoon. So for Father's Day on Sunday and for Saturday for the holiday weekend, mid to upper 90s. Again, I think we'll come close to tying some record highs, maybe breaking them if we get enough sunshine. We'll see how that goes, but right now it doesn't look like century mark territory for us. World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought, that's coming up on Monday. More from the United Nations Environment Program. And then all the way throughout next week, lows in the lower to mid 70s, highs in the mid 90s. And then we see, again, not much going on with the exception of maybe some showers and thunderstorms Monday into Tuesday. And we're talking a pitifully small chance of this, 10-15% at best. There really is not much of anything else going on. And again, as these conditions remain stable, this is what we call persistence forecasting, to where not much is going to be changing anytime soon. So if you're looking for any cooler weather, not going to happen. Oh, and by the way, First day of summer, 4:52 p.m. on Thursday of next week. We're rapidly running out of springtime. Tuesday, the last day of spring, or Wednesday, Juneteenth, will be the last full day of spring. And then we go into the first day of summer again, starting Thursday afternoon next. And we'll be looking forward to getting out of summertime. We may even bring back the autumn countdown clock at some point in time there. All right, so for the heat, that's pretty much taken care of. We have some changes taking place in the tropics. First of all, number one, off the East Coast, down to a 10% chance as this wanders its way parallel to the East Coast states. Way on down into the Pacific, way down south of Mexico, storm system making its way to the south and to the east. That one has run out of gas. This one showing no sign of any development anytime soon. So the only one left is this one in orange in the Bay of Campeche. And what we're looking at in the southern Gulf in that area is this system. You can kind of see a little bit more of a spin taking place here as the animation goes forward. So what we're seeing is this system moving, and that area expands a little bit there, so it is getting a little larger. So this could develop and then drift back toward the area of the Texas coast and northeastern areas of Mexico. Now, why are we featuring this if we are way up here? We don't have much of anything going on specifically, but we could see anybody who's traveling into and around that particular area of the Gulf Coast south of Houston. We may be looking at the potential of some problems. If you're taking a beach vacation, Houston, Galveston, Corpus Christi, Brownsville, anywhere along the Rio Grande, I would watch this system very, very carefully, because if this takes a turn to the west, that could ruin a lot of beach vacations. Again, this is nothing but an area of investigation. There is nothing showing up, anything that shows that this is going to be developing into anything else, except this is as high a possibility as we've seen in the course of the last several days. We are now 2 weeks into hurricane season, and this could develop very quickly, and here's why. As we go into the next several days and weeks, the waters of the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the Atlantic are where they should be as of late August, and that is 2 months ahead of schedule at best. So right now we've got temperatures in the upper 80s, the loop current, the Gulf current, the southern parts of Cuba, the Straits of Cuba, mid to high 80s. The storms can use this warm water and the unstable air above it to develop into a storm much more quickly. This is fuel. In fact, this bathtub warm water is rocket fuel for these storms to get going. So this is why we really, really have to watch what is going on as the system comes on over into around the Rio Grande Valley. We could see some problems out of this, and for right now, with temperatures nearing 90 in parts of the Gulf Coast, the temperature scale up here, looking at, again, numbers that are way too warm for the season. The ocean's never really cooled off. It's busy absorbing all the heat of all of our fossil fuel-driven climate change. And for right now, this could spell big trouble in a very short amount of time. It's called RI, rapid intensification, and it's a very good possibility we could see storms grow and blossom. Remember Otis last year in the Pacific? It went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 in less than 9 hours. That's incredible. And that warm water against the western Pacific coast, that is also something that we are going to have to watch for anything that might head up our direction, giving a monsoon flow out of the desert southwest. So going to be watching a lot of stuff as we go into around the rest of the weekend. So definitely want to keep it tuned to News 12 for more on that as we go into the course of the next few days. So we do see, again, little, if anything, in the way of good news for the temperature across the area. Ooh, wow, that is a terrible score. It looks like the game is pretty much over with downtown. We'll have more on sports coming up tonight, but we should be getting into that Friday night fireworks for the lookouts taking place here in just a little bit. Speaking of which, if you are going to be going to the ball game tomorrow, Saturday, 7:15, lookouts against the Biscuits. It's the part of the entire weekend is a dedication. It's the third annual Negro League Appreciation Weekend. And if you've ever had the chance to research that period of time of baseball and history in our country, add to that if you've ever been to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City at 18th and Vine, I really highly recommend that for any fan of baseball. Really great to be able to take a look at that and see what exactly happened during those time frames, and the teams and the players and the coaches and everything else that went on. Really neat to see that history of our country and what a lot of folks went through when it came to discrimination and segregation. Great museum up there, but again, Negro League Weekend Appreciation coming up. So join the Lookouts and the Biscuits tomorrow night, 7:15, and should be a hot one, but temperatures will be mild and it'll be a little bit hazy as we go into the rest of the week there. Want to reiterate again, coming up beginning next weekend, Sunday is going to be National Lightning Safety Awareness Week. Again, that's not this weekend, but next weekend. I got a little ahead of myself earlier. Learn more about lightning safety. Again, next weekend, starting Saturday the 22nd, it's called Field Day. And if you've never been involved in amateur radio, there's never been a better time to find out more about the hobby. You can find out more by going to the American Radio Relay League at arrl.org and look up information about Field Day. You can also, at this website, find out more about which clubs are operating in which locations in some spots around the Tennessee River Valley. Stop by. You see a bunch of tents, a bunch of radio equipment, trailers with equipment and food set up, things like that. The reason it's called Field Day is because the amateur radio operators operate in the field to practice just in case a disaster of some sort happens. It's really easy to get your license. You have to study. It costs $15 from the FCC. I know people who have said, oh, well, I have this device. I don't need amateur radio. It's a relic. It's an antique. The people who operate it are nothing but geeks and tweakers. At some point in time when the disaster is bad enough, you're not going to be able to pick up your phone and get a pizza delivered to your house within 15 minutes. That's why it's important to have as many ham radio operators as we possibly can. So for next week on Saturday, local group Cleveland Amateur Radio Club will be holding a Introduction to Ham Radio Seminar Open House, and that'll be totally free in Cleveland, Tennessee, noon to 1 p.m., June 22nd. If you've never gotten your license before, if you want to get involved in the hobby, if you want to get your kids involved in the hobby, now would be a great opportunity to do so. They do ask that if you're going to stick around for lunch, or if you're even just coming to the meeting, please RSVP no later than Wednesday of this coming week. And you can get there and register at www.carc.cc. In international phonetics, that's Charlie Alpha Romeo Charlie .Charlie Charlie. If you're going to be following along there. And again, thanks very much to the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club for sending along this information. Really great to be able to see that for anything involving ham radio. I'm a ham radio operator. I love the opportunity to talk about it, so love to be able to let people know about stuff like this so everybody can have some more fun. It's neat being able to talk to someone around the block, or using the right equipment and power level, you can talk to somebody on the other side of the world. It's really neat, and I highly recommend it as a great hobby. All right, well, we're not going to be seeing the fireworks here. The game has ended, probably getting set up for the fireworks as we speak. But if you'd like to see this camera and the other ones from the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam Network, go to our website at wdef.com/weather, and you can click on the pictures, the photo page, the, again, WeatherCam Network page, proudly sponsored by EPB. Thank you very much for being a sponsor on that. Don't forget, you can catch the latest edition of Weather Overtime through the weekend or wherever you happen to be. All you have to do is get the News 12 Weather app. Go to your app store and search WDEF Weather, and you can find out more about what's going on with Weather Overtime. The video just pops up on your screen. All you have to do is just click through, and there you are, and it'd be great to be able to have you on board to watch what is going on. So please download the app, follow along on my social media pages, and we'll keep you updated throughout the course of the rest of the weekend. Please stay safe. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. Don't push yourself too hard out there as you go through the weekend. Take breaks. Keep an eye on those working or exercising along with you. Please make certain that you're taking enough breaks to put back the water your body is sweating away. You don't need to mow the entire yard all at once. Take some breaks. Do it in chunks. If you're going on a hike, if you're going on outdoor activities, please remember to get that much done and just take some time off right there. Talk about stopping by for a snack. Good time to talk about our weather picture of the day, courtesy of Langley Roofing. The weather window, thank you very much, Frank Falkowski from the area around McDonald, Tennessee. A view of a hummingbird in flight and very apropos for Flag Day 2024. Old Glory flapping proudly there in the breeze. If you've got pictures, please send them in to us. Again, pictures at WDEF.com. Email them to us, drop them to our website, WDEF.com/photos. Go ahead and drop by our social media pages, drop the pictures there, give us a description and or a location. And you can see on these bottom four, that is where we post all of our pictures to, so you can see them quite easily. And just take a look around, see what other people are submitting, and get yours in for the weather window picture of the day. Still no fireworks. We'll give them another couple of minutes here. The weather question of the day. This one talking about the wind, and that's not the right one. What would you call a wind blowing at 4 to 31 miles per hour? There are different levels of breeze and winds and gales and all kinds of stuff like that. But from 4 to 31 miles per hour, what do you call it? A whiff, a breeze, a zephyr, or a gale? 68% of you said breeze, and that was the correct answer. So thank you very much for going to our friendinroofing.com weather poll of the day. Thank you very much to everybody who's been dropping by and learning a little bit more about weather out there. Really do appreciate it. Thanks a lot for keeping an eye on our pages. News, sports, and weather polls available again at WDEF.com/weather or WDEF.com/vote now. We'll be glad to put up another poll here coming up into the weekend. Still no fireworks. I guess we're not going to be able to catch it this time around. I'll have more on the weather on the website through the weekend. Meteorologist Todd Heislip has your forecast Saturday and Sunday nights at 11 o'clock, and Chip Chapman will be back bright and early on Monday morning to get you ready for another work week, and it's going to be a hot one, so remember that if you're working outdoors. Live and direct from downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. Thanks for joining us for Weather Overtime for the end of the week, Flag Day, Friday, the 14th of June, 2024. And again, we'll have more on News 12 tonight at 11 and all the way through the weekend at WDEF.com. Questions, concerns, email me, aonek@wdef.com. And thanks once again for tuning in to Weather Overtime. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. As I said, thanks to everybody on Twitch and YouTube for tuning in, and we'll send you back through the regularly scheduled Friday night. Please use caution this weekend. Let's be careful out there. And again, hope you have a happy and safe weekend. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on Monday.